Greetings, YouTube. I was born in 1964, and I grew up with Legos. I don't really ever remember not having Legos around when I was a kid. It was, without a doubt, my favorite toy. I may have loved some of my toy guns, and I even still have a couple I had as a child. And I loved my action figures. I had the classic 12-inch G.I. Joes. I even had the spaceship. I wish I still had, because I could probably get a pretty penny for it. As I got older, I enjoyed action figures. I still do. As anyone who's looked at some of my videos in my daily booth, I often post pictures of my action figures. But hands down, Lego is my favorite toy. Lego is, in fact, quite frankly, one of the greatest toys ever invented. Blocks have been around forever, but the beauty, the absolute genius of the Lego is their ability to interlock. Of course, as time went by, Lego put out more and more specialized sets. And while I'm not a big proponent of some of them, because I think that they force people into using items in ways that aren't as flexible as some of the more generic sets, I really do find the shapes and some of the options these shapes give you interesting. There's a website I visit every single day called The Brothers Brick. I shall post a link for it, which is what I consider the one-stop place online if you want to find things out about Legos, whether official sets or the latest custom work done by a slew of artists. And there are people out there coming up with original designs, absolute pure Lego blocks, and they're doing incredible work. I mean, I see these images I look at every day, and people are doing traditional like castle sets or Wild West sets or science fiction sets, to themes like post-apocalyptic settings or horror themes, and they're doing custom spacecraft and vehicles, motorized stuff, robotic stuff. It's just incredible. The amount of skill, the amount of thought that goes into these things is astounding. I look at the few sets I still have in my collection, and there's just no way I could ever be as good as these people. They've dedicated so much time and effort and artistry, not to mention huge amounts of space for storage and money in getting these sets. It's mind-boggling. I've seen some of the layouts that these people have for their storage, and they literally have walls of Legos, of just bins and drawers, all with labels, and it's just incredible. And right in the town I live in, there is a down the river, there is a old mill, and at one time the mill buildings were the longest contiguous building in the world. They were over a mile long of one consistent building. And a Lego project was done a few years ago where they did a Lego scale model of the mills. As I can't remember what year they picked. I don't know if it was at the height of their size or not. But the thing's like 80 feet long, and it's done to Lego figure scale. And it's the whole canal that was there at one time. The canal is no longer there. It's now called Canal Street because they filled it in, and there's a street there now. And I watched it going up, and there's like dozens of people climbing over this set in their stocking feet, and just dozens of people breaking boxes open and separating the parts, and then the parts being put together because you needed lots and lots of like red bricks because you needed to make the buildings look like brick. It's just amazing. My wife took some pretty cool pictures of that, and she's a semi-professional photographer. She used to do that as part of her job as a reporter. And at one time I had a pretty decent sized Lego collection. I had a lot of basic sets, and I had a tub of Legos that was probably 40 to 45 pounds full of Legos. And I gave it to a friend of mine who had just married, and his new wife had 2 children. And unfortunately, when they separated, because she was a bit of a vindictive witch, she kept them. So I never got them back. I was kind of hoping I would. And so I lost some of my childhood memories there, which kind of always makes me a little melancholy on that one. But I do have a few Lego sets left. I don't really play with them much anymore. My wife has had a certain attraction for some Lego sets, And every once in a while, I'll look at a Lego set and I'm like, oh, that's a cool set. But I just can't justify spending the money when I could spend it on books instead. Role-playing games, like the big shelf behind me with all the colored boxes, those are all role-playing games, as is the shelf over here, and the shelf here, and all the shelves in the library, full of role-playing games. And that's my way to spend my disposable income when I'm not buying LED flashlights, or the once a year I buy a new knife or something like that. But Legos, hands down, the best toy ever invented by man, and I hope that every kid in the world at some time gets to play with them.